Yes, people, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to Blue Diaries, people. Welcome back to another episode, man. You know what I'm saying? Where not much has really happened the past week. I can't lie. You know, I've kind of liked the little break. I know you lot probably haven't really seen much content on my channel right now, but I can't lie, bro. Last weekend, I caught up with a lot of people that didn't even know I existed anymore, blood. You know what I mean? Because with this whole football content thing, I'm telling you, weekends, you're written off. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, we've got Jem back today. We've got Dan here. It's been a minute since Dan's been back on the channel. Jimmy and Ads should be joining us soon, and AJ as well, people. So make sure that you lot are smashing up the lights as you come in. I feel Ads is here as well. Got 7 people in the house right now, but yeah, more people start to come in. I can see the numbers going up as well. But what you lot saying, man? First of all, please, you lot good? Enjoy the break.
Yeah, breaks needed, man. I feel like it's been a bit stressful this season, Chelsea fans. So just needed the break away from football a little bit. Just reset.
100%, bruv. Ads, how's your arm now, bruv? I see you're moving about a little bit more.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I can't really lift it above here yet, but other than that, mobility is fine. I'm able to actually get some sleep. So yeah, we're on the way to recovery, so it's all good.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. That's good. And obviously, we haven't really caught up on the Southampton game, so we'll briefly talk about that because people, listen, I know we battered them, but at the end of the day, it is Southampton. It's one of the worst teams I've seen in the Prem. As it is right now, they might not. Say that again?
I forgot about the game already. What happened? What was it? What did we do?
You know what I mean? And right now, it's looking like they might beat that record that fucking Derby set, bro. Was it 12 points that Derby got? These lot on 9 right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not going to overly do it about that game, but the main thing that I wanted to touch up on was obviously the fact that we've now been played Neto up top and we've been getting better performances. Even away from the game against Southampton, yes, it's Southampton, but when we played Villa, it was a similar sort of thing, you know, because we saw the game before that when we played Brighton, we only had 1 shot. We had 0 shots on target, right? And then when Maresca decides to change Neto, bring a little bit more fluidity up there, someone that can press, someone that makes the centre-backs work, you're seeing a difference in how we played. And against Villa, for me, if we took our chances, we could have won that game. You know, it was only Jorgensen, really, and Gusto's mistakes what let us down that day. But ultimately, in terms of the chances we're creating in comparison to the Brighton game, we created some better chances, yeah? If we played in Cuckoo up top against Southampton, fuck it. It don't matter if it's Southampton or not. We would have not scored 4 goals, bruv, right? We just wouldn't because we know how we play with Cuckoo up top. So I'm really happy that Maresca's trying to problem solve and trying something different at the minute. Went a little bit stale, bruv. You know what I'm saying? But Jem, first of all, bro, how are you feeling about this Neto, you know, experiment up top? Do you think it's working for you at the minute, bro?
If you'd have asked this question a month and a half ago, should we play Neto up front? I think 99% of the fan base would have said, "What? No way. Forget it. It's not. You know, he's not even playing well on the wing, let alone putting him up front. How are we going to utilize him? How are we going to get him on the ball enough? How are we going to, you know, get his strengths out of him?" But I got to give it to AJ though. AJ's probably one of the only guys that I know that actually said we should play either Madueke or Neto up front, and I did struggle at the beginning to see it because I was like, I get him trying to adapt and try and do things different. You know how I am with managers. I want them to try and do things differently and try and problem solve. I'm very always on that. But the fact that, you know, we not even just this game, the game before as well against Villa, I know we lost it, but he had a very good performance up there where he plays more like a false 9. So he's not really a striker. He's someone that sort of floats around sort of the 9-10 right wing area. And what it does, which causes defense's problem, is it drags centre-backs and whoever out of position, which creates space for others to run in and attack. And that's the thing that surprised me. Not surprised me. I'd say he's done very well with. And on top of that, also his hold-up play for a small player is actually not that bad. When the ball's been played into him, fizzed into him from midfield or defence, the guy's held up the ball pretty well up against some pretty strong individuals. So, you know, would I want to see it moving forward in terms of long term? No. Do I think it's definitely something we need right now compared to what we have seen up front? Obviously in Kunku and stuff. Yes, I think we will stick to it. And I think Neto deserves to be playing up there and doing what he's doing. But as long as he continues contributing and doing what he's doing and providing a solution, which is actually making us look a little bit better with the ball. Does that make sense? Like the way we're moving forward, we actually look a bit better moving forward. Like I know, obviously, you want to talk about Neto in this game, but I think there's two other people, which obviously I'm sure you might highlight that we should talk about. One of them is Cole Palmer, who I think we should be talking about again, especially after that game. Yeah. And the other one for me is Enzo Fernandez, but that's more of a personal thing again for me to say what I want to say on that. But yeah, Neto.
You were going to bring him up, of course. We've got time for Enzo. Don't worry, Jim, on this channel. We've got time for Enzo, man.
But nah, honestly, if we're sticking on Neto, been very impressed with him, and I like the fact that Maresca's actually taking him off and not leaving him on like we'd been doing to Jackson when he was out of form and just playing him through the pains and stuff. And then at the end of it, he eventually got injured. So yeah, long may it continue with Neto at the moment as our problem solve.
100%, bro. And even going to that game against Villa, if you remember how we started off that game, you know, Neto was looking real dynamic. One thing that I've spoken about this guy is he's got the attributes to do what we want him to do. You know, he's quick, he's skillful. The guy knows how to strike a ball, bruv. Like, he's actually one of the best ball strikers in this squad, but we don't see him do it enough, right? Look at the goal he scored against Southampton. Man just slapped it. Against Arsenal, he slapped it. You know what I mean? Like, if you've seen a couple of goals he scored for Wolves, same sort of thing. He'd cut in on his left foot, just slap it, right? But the issue, he doesn't create enough good angles for himself to just get some shots off. That's why Neto doesn't really score many goals. It's not like Garnacho, where Garnacho keeps missing. We don't really see Neto missing many chances because he barely ever shoots, you know? But what have you liked about him so far? What's the main thing that sort of impressed you about him, you know, playing up top so far, bro?
Okay, I'm glad you added up top, because obviously prior to him moving up top, as you might know, I'm not been a big fan of Neto. So, but yeah, up top he has given us more. Again, it was hard not to give us more, given how little Nkunku was giving us, given how little Jackson was given towards the end of his time playing there, because, you know, his form had fallen off a cliff. And obviously we didn't really see much of Guiu. So the bar was really low, but again, credit to Neto, he stepped up, he stepped in, and he's given us better performances up there. Still obviously nowhere near perfect, but he's given us something. He's given us athleticism, running the channels, making runs in behind. Like, he's given us a focal point, even though he's not the biggest guy, he's not the most physical guy, but he puts himself about there in a way that Nkunku just wasn't doing. So I was a fan of him moving up there. Again, Jim, you forgot to include my name as well as AJ's. We both said, and when AJ was put it in the chat, I was like, you know what? Yeah, Neto up front, it makes sense, because unlike Noni maybe could because of pace, but for me, Neto, I've actually seen him play up front at Wolves. He did this at Wolves, and for me, you know what? Looking at our fixture list, it made sense because we were playing Villa, who again we know play a high line. Southampton, I mean, they're trash, but they play a high line. They try to actually play football. So with Neto running the channels, trying to be, you know, a threat to their centre backs, it's going to make sense. Leicester, that might be a bit different because they play over low blocks, so you might not see as much of Neto in that kind of game. That's more on our creators, and are we going to just spam crosses, or what are we going to do in terms of when we reach the final third? But again, talking about the games that we've seen, Neto, he's doing his job. He's been a threat. You said skillful done. I'm still waiting to see like the flair and the skill and like the precise technique come out with him. For me, I feel like it's a lot more like just physical, like he's like putting himself about. But I want to see more ability because again, we spent big money on this guy, so I want to see more in terms of like top ability. But you are right, he's a good shooter of the ball. He strikes the ball well. We just need to see more of it. But again, the man of the hours here, AJ, you also brought up Neto up front. It's looking good so far, and I think a big part of that is it's also worked out well for Nkunku because Nkunku's actually getting involved in the game. For me, he was my man of the match against Southampton. He got the first goal, which is obviously important, and he's showing that from the left he can create, he can box press, and he can be actually have an effect on us getting goals in the final third. So I'm liking how it's working for both of these guys. So long may it continue, although there's obviously much tougher tests to come in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. Obviously, Dan, it's been a minute since you've been on the channel, bro. You know, so I haven't got your thoughts in a while about how you're feeling about the team. You know, how are you feeling about the fluidity of the attack right now? Because it went through a little phase where the attack looked quite stale. But, you know, with Neto up top, I don't know if you've seen a couple of times, you see him on the left, you see him go on the right, you see him drop in, you know, where he's got a little bit more space. Because he mentioned it himself, Dan. He said, bro, like, when I was playing for Wolves, you know, I wasn't really facing many low blocks. So I'm having to adapt my game now, you know. So how do you feel about the fluidity of our attack going forward with Neto up there, bro?
Well, I think it's a massive improvement on Nkunku being up front, to be honest with you. I don't think we spoke a lot about it, but I was really, really disappointed with what Nkunku offered up front. Whether or not it's his position or not, I just think you need to apply yourself better. And at times it felt like he was almost dropping and down in tools because he just didn't want to play there. And I just don't think that's the right attitude. Neto, for me, looks promising. It looks like it's something that might work whilst Jackson's out, or give us a different tactic to have as a backup in different scenarios, different types of games. But for maybe even a possibility of seeing 2 up top if the system needs it in times of need in this sort of running towards the end of the season. But I wonder how it plays out against the low block. The more we see it, I don't think Southampton is enough of like a level to judge at the moment, just because of how poor they were. But going forwards, I want to see more of it, and I want to see what it looks like against the low block. Yeah, I heard him have that interview actually. I thought that was quite interesting, because that's an adaptation that we don't probably talk about enough, with players stepping up to teams like Chelsea and other teams at the top of the Prem from lower down, because they end up playing against a completely different style of football. So, yeah. Good to see. I think his finishing's great. I think you make a great point. I think he is a top ball striker. I think he can be a little bit predictable off the right-hand side. So playing him up front, he's a bit more unhinged, and I think that becomes difficult for defenders to read.
100%, man. AJ, we're just bigging you up. You know, I've spoken about AJ on a few fan cams and that as well, because me and him were going back and forth. You know, AJ, he was getting pissed off, brother, in the group chat. He was saying, listen, let's just try something else. And for me, I heard his point, but I was more pissed off at the fact that we're now looking at Neto, Madueke, or Nkuku as striker options. Like, how the fuck have we got here, bro? You know what I mean? But AJ, what were you cooking, bro? Tell the people what you were cooking. Like.
Yo, first of all, I appreciate the shout out, bro. You know, it's important to just give, you know, certain things a chance. And I think, you know, when you look at Neto as a player, he has pace, he can strike the ball. I think everybody said it. He has decent power. His movement is pretty strong. Like, that's one of his best attributes, is moving off the ball. So I think that's, you know, good characteristics for a striker. You know, you kind of need that little bit of physicality and aerial presence to really be a striker, but he has the presence. He has the, you know, some of the characteristics similar to like Aguero. You know, Aguero wasn't the biggest striker, but he could move, he could hold off a player, you know, he could strike the ball. So I was just thinking that way, you know. So I'm gonna take credit for the whole Chelsea fan base, you know. Neto up front was because of me. You know, I remember saying it, and I think Lewis was in the channel. I think I had said it in Matisse's comments. Like, you know, we got to run Neto, you know, up front. And everybody was saying, nah, they don't want to see that. And I hear you don't want to see it, but sometimes you just got no chance. But I'm glad that it's giving us something. It's giving us some hope. You know, again, Dan said we've played some weak teams. So let's see how it goes, you know, moving forward. And then it could be an option, you know, in the long run as well.
No, 100%, man, 100%. And Jim, one of the things that impressed me about this guy playing up there, right? Because there's times where you look at Neto and he takes some loose touch, bro. Right? But I don't know if you remember against Southampton, there's one point where he got the ball and he spun it, blood. He did a turn and it spun, similar to what Jackson does, and he was gone again, bro. You know what I mean? He was gone again, right? How are you feeling about him up top at the minute, Jim, man? Do you like what you're seeing so far? Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Jim. I ain't know you. I thought you were talking about
Jim.
No, hey, look, at this point, whatever works. We down to the bare bones. So whoever could do a job, man. I thought Neto, the most surprising thing about Neto is like he's strong as hell. Like he can actually hold off a center back to the defender and like hold them off. That was the most surprise. Everything else about his attack, him up front, was I figured he could do that. I didn't think he could do the hold off, like holding up a man and bringing in the attackers. Who we got next? We got Leicester next. I'm talking about in the Prem is Leicester.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna play us, but
that's the first low block we're gonna face with Neto up front. I said that's the first low block we're gonna play, because obviously Villa play a high line. So that's on shift. They actually play football as well, isn't it?
You don't think Neto plays up front against Copenhagen?
Oh, well, we were just talking about the league, but yeah, Copenhagen's got us up front as well, because no one else can even start up front. And they
Copenhagen, you can probably put me up front, and I probably can get a goal. But I'm talking about the league. I think I want to see what it look like against a low block. You know what I mean? That's the only thing.
I think Copenhagen's going to be a tougher test than Leicester, because like Leicester have been poor recently.
Yep. They have been, bro. And on that,
they had a good game against Arsenal, didn't they? to be fair. But
yeah, but I was about to say I just saw them play the hell out of Arsenal. Arsenal got 2 little buck-up goals at the 78th minute.
Yeah.
They have been poor though. I give it that.
I agree.
Poor.
Yeah. But let's talk about Copenhagen first. Actually, so that's a good sort of segue into the next bit, Jem. How are you feeling about going into this game? Obviously, because listen, we're expected to win this tournament, right? But throughout the whole Conference League so far, we haven't really seen the big guns playing, like the Palmers and whatnot, right? How do you think we should go about it now going forward, bro? Do you think we should play our strongest team, or would you still mix it up with the likes of Tyreek George? You got Sakyi, Mweka as well. Big up HM, he's in the chat. Mweka, he's there. He should be in the squad for this as well. I like what I've seen so far in terms of the movement, and obviously he's got a big name right now in the academy as well. How would you go about things, bro? Do you think we should play our strongest team or still mix it up a bit?
If you're going to ask me what I think he's going to do, I think he's going to play strong, and I think he's going to listen. We've not got. I know we're on the road to getting players back, and people are getting fit, but they're not on the bench, are they? There's people training with us and whatever else. So I would say that we're not in a position where we can actually just rest players in certain positions. In my opinion, I would go strong to start with, and then I would take players off. If it means half time, if we're 2-0 up or something, take them off at half time, switch the team. Like he did against Southampton, he took Neto off, I think, on the 60th or 70th minute. I can't remember. He just kept, he kept just switching it around. Yeah, bring the young players on, but bring the young players on when we've got a little bit of a lead. I'm not saying I don't trust them and all that, but we're at that position now where we just need to keep winning. I want the same momentum as what we had against Southampton. I want the same going to Copenhagen, and then I want the same going to Leicester. So I don't necessarily want us to do too much in terms of changing things all the time and switching it around. Yeah, he might rest Cole Palmer, for example, who we know is not performing to the highest levels at the moment. I.e., saying that this type of game might be good for a Cole Palmer in terms of finding the net, before Leicester. So, Maresca's got a lot to think about in terms of what he wants to do in certain positions. Does he put a younger player in on the wing, or does he play a younger player up front? This, that, and the other. He has them options, but I think we should go there to just fuck them up, basically. Quite honestly, yeah.
How about you, Dan? How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think Copenhagen is going to be a really tough game. And I'm intrigued to see what Maresca does. For me, I just feel like with this Conference League is we need to be getting these games done in one leg, so that at least the second leg is not a banana skin and we can rest players. So we're not affecting 2 Premier League matches. That's the biggest importance for me. If we drag these ties over 2 legs and make it difficult for ourselves, we're then going to have a huge impact on our Premier League season, to be honest. So I expect to see a couple of players that have potentially returned from injury get some minutes, at least get some sort of time on the pitch, to be honest with you, because I think we need to see some of them back, because we need that rotation option back in this side, because I think we've struggled recently. I expect to see, I think Reece will probably play. I think a couple of players will be back in because they didn't play against Southampton for as long as they would have wanted to. I don't quite know what the system looks like. I don't know because I don't know what Enzo Maresca's thinking, because he's been so stubborn, and then the change sort of come to play Neto up top, and he's sort of changed things up a little bit from how he's been throughout the season. I don't know what he's going to want to do. Is he going to want to try something different to just tick off every box and know what's going to work best whilst we're trying to get through? Or is he going to revert back to what we've seen for 90% of the season? I don't really know how it'll go with that just yet.
I mean, the good signs here is Maresca's confirmed Lavia started training again. For me, he's a ticking time bomb. So when I see these updates, I don't even get gassed. Even now with Reece, I blank him out of my mind, bro. Until I see him for at least 2-3 months fit, he don't exist to me, blood. Yeah? And it's the same thing as Lavia, because it's been many times now we've seen my man come back, and then all of a sudden he plays 1 half, 2 halves, he's gone again. And they don't even tell us what's wrong with him. He'll just be like, yeah, he's gone. He's got a muscle problem. He's got this problem. They don't tell us, blood. You know what I mean? But he's announced that 3 defenders are ready to play in the next game. So Trevor, Chalobah's available, James Boy. Badia Shield is back. Another one that we can't really depend on, because you don't know what Badia Shield you're going to get. One day, my man's looking like a Rolls Royce. The next day, he's looking like a car wreck. You know what I'm saying? And then Fofana is another ticking time bomb as well. And that leads me to my next point, people. Right, about this situation that we've got right now with Fofana. So there's a few things that came out earlier on The Athletic, and they sort of broke down how many minutes and the percentage that Fofana has played for Chelsea since joining us, right? and it's actually disgusting, bro. Yeah, this is a guy that we spent what 70 million on, and since joining Chelsea, Wesley Fofana has played just 20.5% of the available first team minutes for Chelsea across all competitions. Yeah, that is absolutely, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
That's Havertz karma.
That's
That's Eden Hazard karma, man. Remember how we
Bro.
sent Hazard off? He played like 5% of Real Madrid games.
Yeah, literally, bro, literally, you know. And listen, we know Fofana. Like, I've been on a few streams recently where a lot of people have been saying to me, like, "Oh, how can you say Fofana's a key player when he doesn't play? You know, we barely see him." And I'm like, bro, I know he's injury prone, but we've seen enough of him to know that when he's there,
you know what you're telling? You see the difference when he's gone.
Yeah, you see the difference when he's gone, bro.
But when he's there, people might expect more. Even me, sometimes I'd be like, I want a little bit more from Fofana. But when he's gone, you go, holy shit.
Look at this, Jim. Look at this, Jim. Yeah. So in the Prem, Chelsea have conceded an average of a goal a game with Wesley Fofana in their team, and 1.6 without him. Right?
Wow. An entire half a fucking goal, man.
100%, bro. Crazy. You know, he helps us defend.
That's that recovery pace.
That recovery, yep. Because you know, sometimes we see him running down guys, and we just take it for granted. We really do. I do. Me personally, I do.
I also think this system plays to his strengths as well. That's the other thing as well. I think we're the high line pressure, shutting down. He loves running out of position and chasing the ball down, doesn't he? Like that's just what he likes doing. And sometimes
you might even say, Jem, that Maresca's system is dependent on having a player like Fofana in it defensively.
Yeah, it is.
Otherwise, it's flawed.
I agree.
It is, bro, because you're spot on when you say that, Dan, right? Because when it comes to the counter pressing, he allows us to play that high line. You know, as soon as you know that you're going to lose the ball in the midfield, if Lavia's in front of him, you know Fofana's going to get in there and sweep up because he steps up into the midfield and you'll get tight. Whereas guys like Tosin, they back away, bro. Yeah, guys like Chalobah, they don't really trust their defensive capabilities to handle them situations.
It's been good, man.
Yeah, one-on-one as well. Fofana, you can trust Fofana in the wide areas, right? He helps us again counter press from the front because if you've got Lavia there, you've got Caicedo that can counter press from the front. We were scoring a lot of goals at that start of the season.
And you know what else he does too? You know what else he does too that I haven't seen in months? He actually drives the ball. If you don't step out to make an to act, you're gonna defend him. He'll take the ball and drive that shit. None of those other guys. Levi Colwell used to do it. I don't know what happened. He stopped doing it.
Confidence.
Yeah, Levi Colwell used to do it. Levi Colwell used to get that ball on that left foot. He'll stand on it. If you did not come and get him, he would inch up, and take off. Take off and drive that ball.
100%. And for me, going into next season, right? How do we go about this situation, man? Because I'm sick and tired of seeing Fofana, knowing what he brings to the team, but then when he gets injured, it's not even 1 or 2 games. He's gone for months, right? He'll come back for a little bit. People get excited to see him on the training pitch. Again, he's gone, right? And then you're having to depend on the Chalobahs and the Tossins and that. And these guys, bro, they're squad players for a reason. You don't want to be seeing them too much. You know what I mean? That's why.
Do we have another defender that's the same profile as Fofana, do you think? Because I don't see one in the team.
I was about
to say we need to bring in, even if he's this is where I wouldn't mind a center back that might be a year or 2 younger than Fofana, but that can be right on his heels, and that's his profile. Because he's gonna get hurt. We're not gonna be able to sell him right now. We won't get value, so we have to keep him. But we can't go into next year without another Fofana.
And Jimmy, I also think if the person next to Fofana when he was injured was actually more of a commander and had other attributes that actually carried us, we would actually be all right without him. But when you listen, I'm not the biggest fan of any of our defenders. You know that I don't really like our defenders that much. But to be quite honest with you, if Colwell was performing to a level that some Chelsea fans were saying that this guy can reach at the beginning of the season, then, that we expected, and maybe this big gaping hole in defense wouldn't be as bad as it looks without Fofana, you know. So I don't know.
I agree. We missing that. When you look at Liverpool, they have that Van Dijk Konate situation going where you got the leader and then you got like a dog, and you just need that type of partnership to kind of be successful or something like that. You know, that's a high level Van Dijk and Konate.
Yeah, that's the highest of the level. Yeah, that's the highest. You just need something. If you can get 75%, 80% of that, you're good to go.
Yeah, 100%. And for me, Fofana wasn't even at his best start of the season, but defensively, he was helping us so much, bro. Right? He's tall. He helps in the box. Again, in the one-on-one situations, like when we played Villa, Maresca was saying it himself. He let Fofana just deal with Watkins one-on-one, bro. Right? You can't trust Tosin and these guys to just defend the man one-on-one. They're going to get finished. They're going to get done.
Especially Colwell to me. To me, Colwell is the one I have the least
one-on-one for him.
Confidence in. The only thing I'm worried about with Tosin one-on-one is getting beat for pace. He has everything up top. You can beat him for pace. Mentally, he has everything else there. He's aggressive. He's tall.
He turns like a truck.
Make a tackle, but you can beat him for pace.
Yeah.
Like a truck,
I think Tosin Fofana would be our best centre back pairing.
Best centre back combination. Yeah.
Because I think Tosin has shown that he's a talker. I think he commands these younger players through the game. I think that's missing massively.
Last week, me and Couch argued about that because I said, Couch, Tosin looks like a talker. He looks like he knows what and Couch was saying, but he doesn't have nothing on his CV. I'm like, that shouldn't matter. If he's talkative, he's pointing guys and telling guys where they should be. Palmer should listen. Especially where Tosin is based. He can see more of the pitch than everybody. Only person I can see the pitch better than him is the keeper. That's it.
And I wouldn't trust them.
And you don't want to.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I wouldn't trust them either.
By the way, that's hugely important to our defensive lapses this season, I think, is the lack of trust in the goalkeepers. If you had a goalkeeper in there that was just a little bit more trustworthy, that just settled things down, I think there would be a huge difference as well.
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper settles down the center backs more than vice versa. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like,
yeah.
If a goalkeeper, like when your keeper is on, he can basically set up his whole defense. I never see Sanchez doing that. I never see Sanchez doing that shit. Never. Like Martinez, those type of guys, they vocal. They like. Don't even get me started because I'll go for 20 minutes on Sanchez. Don't even get me started.
There's no point, man.
Especially when you're at games and that as well. I don't see Sanchez like controlling, the defense or dictating them and doing all of this. I don't see none of that from him, bro.
You know what pissed me off the most with Sanchez? I want somebody to make a comp of it. I wish I could. All the times he cleans his box, get the ball, run up, and then don't throw it. Then go. That shit pisses me off.
Yeah.
Like, bro, start the break.
Jorgensen did it the other day, didn't he? About 20 minutes into the game against Southampton, Jorgensen put his foot on the ball and he looked up and then he just didn't even know what option to choose. And I just think like him and Sanchez, so much of their like brain processing power is used up on making a decision. Whereas I think like you can get keepers out there that make the decision way quicker.
Yeah, they just go. It comes
last season with Petrovic, I don't think his distribution was as good. I think he's worked on it a lot away from Chelsea, but I don't think last year it was as good. But he knew Poch had obviously instructed, this is what you do. Get the ball, play long. That's your decision made for you. And I think obviously he's gone away and worked on his distribution so he can come back and obviously play different types of passes and play out in a better manner. But I think that's huge, is that the goalkeeper's decision-making has been such an issue this season, no matter who's been in the goal.
100%. I think, to be fair, like, I think Jorgensen actually did what Maresca wanted him to do the other day, bro. Right? Because after the game, Maresca came out and said, listen, if this guy kept going long, I wouldn't have played him. I would have took him off.
Do you agree with that?
It would have been Sanchez. Yeah, he said if he kept going
long. Why did he not have that same energy for Sanchez when he was hoofing the balls all the time to no one?
He has said that just before. He's been quoted saying it. But I do you guys agree with that? Because for me, I think that's one of the... I actually don't mind what Maresca's done to an extent, but that is one of the things that I find a little bit iffy for me, because I think there's a time and a place to play out. I don't think it's all the time. There are some situations
I think that's what he meant, though. I think people
like Ederson would play over the top and it would almost set up an attack for City, but it's almost like Jorgensen felt like uncomfortable to do that, otherwise he'd lose his place.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like, I think for that particular game, right? Because Southampton, they weren't really pressing us from the front. I think he wanted it more on the floor there. But I don't think Maresca means every single time you get the ball, don't go long. I think it's just kind of saying to him, in this game, play a lot more short passes. Because against Villa, we kept going long and we just kept losing it, right? Because we haven't got the profile, bro. We ain't got the height in the team really like that. You know, every time we go long to the likes of Nkunku, they just lose the ball. Neto up top, he holds up the ball well, but up against some tall centre backs, they're just gonna back. You know what I mean? They're just gonna head it back out.
Don, I agree with you, by the way, but I think as a manager, by just saying that, you're scaring your goalkeeper into, like, you're pressurizing the keeper when you don't need to, and I actually think that's a mistake on Maresca's part, because I think you actually need to relieve the pressure on Jorgensen and Sanchez, because they're obviously struggling to deal with it.
Yeah. I think. Listen, I think Jorgensen. I didn't think he was actually bad against Villa, bro. I think that stupid blunder at the end ruined everything else that he did before that. Because if you guys remember, he made a good save for Watkins. In the second half, Marlon as well. Like, he made a very good save for him as well. So if we draw that game or we lose that or we win that game, no one's talking bad.
Boiling up.
Say that again.
See it. He wants to say something.
Bro, listen, I'm being fair. Bro. I don't think he was bad that game. And you man,
look at the ads.
But Don, the point is, with a goalkeeper, it's all about fine margins. Like, when they're doing their job, that's great. You're doing your job, but you have to judge them over 90 minutes. And if you make a mistake at the end, because you're a goalkeeper, there's such fine margins. He had a bad performance, because the one time you made that mistake, which cost us 2 points, gave them 3 points. That's your performance, and that's a bad performance. So you can't say, he was good up until the mistake.
I think you're contradicting yourself, though, because you said you have to judge someone over 90 minutes, but then you're saying you're going to judge them off that one moment.
Yeah, but if I'm talking about his game, the defining moment of his game is he made a mistake that cost us 2 points. And yeah, you can talk about, he was good before that, all of that stuff. That's great. But when you're talking about outfield players, it's a bit different to a goalkeeper. Yeah. A goalkeeper, your game is very defined on certain moments. And listen, what he was doing before in the game was good, but I expect him to do that. I don't expect him to throw the ball in the back of the net in the 90th minute and cost us 2 points. So
100%.
He needs to give us a lot more over these next few games to earn any credit in the bank, because none of these goalkeepers have done anything for the club.
100%, and that's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm saying to you, like, when people start to panic and say, we've got another Sanchez in goal, I'm like, brother, I know he's made a mistake, but let's see how he does now, innit? Between now and the end of the season. Like, if he makes another blunder like that again, then yeah, we have got another bozo. But I don't know, innit? My man might have been nervous.
It's not his first mistake, though. Let's have it right. It's not his first mistake. He's not on Sanchez's level yet, but he's made quite a few.
Yeah. Listen,
it's not his first mistake. I agree.
We have to give it time. I don't want to keep chopping and changing. Now it's Sanchez in goal again, as if we wasn't see my man making bare mistakes.
No, don't put Sanchez back in. If he shits the bed, he can go get it.
He's got to go.
All out there. Don't put
guys, let me say this, right? Let me say this. My whole issue, and you're even talking about it with Fofana, right? Like, my whole issue is the fact that we're talking about cures to these situations. I think it's more about prevention. First of all, don't buy an injury-prone centre-back for 80 million and rely on him as your main guy. For me, that's bad business. Look at the goalkeeper situation. Since we sold Thibaut Courtois, we spent like over 200 million on goalkeepers, and all of them are under the age of 25, not great experience. And how many of them have been flops? All of them. Pretty much, other than Mendy for the first 18 months, they've all been horrible. And even you're looking at it now, we're talking about Petrovic, we're talking about Jorgensen, 2 young goalkeepers. Sanchez, he's in his prime, but he showed what his level is, which is to be back up at Brighton. He was never good enough to start for our football club. So for me,
he's third choice.
Exactly, third choice behind Stewart and the other guys. So for me, my whole issue is right now, we need to target guys to come in and improve the first team. Forget about young this and young that. We've got enough young players, and even guys like Santos. Paez, Estevao coming into the squad. I want to see an experienced goalkeeper coming in the summer and an experienced centre back come in. And we've got enough young men in the squad. So we don't need to continue focusing on that. We need to get experienced guys who can come and lead the team.
I was starting
we all agree with you, by the way, but I don't think they're going to go for it.
They're not going to get
no. They won't. It's not going to change much. But
I was starting goalkeepers kicking ass in Nottingham Forest. That's our starting goalkeeper. Remember, he used to be here.
Yeah, Chels, man, like Chels. Yeah. If you guys remember, like last
better than every keeper we have.
That Strasbourg, and we didn't even go for it. It's crazy.
Yeah, make sure that you lot liking up the video as well. People got 88 people in the house. Make sure that you keep liking up the video, man. But listen, where they went wrong, the sporting directors last season is, or in the summer even, right, was depending on the likes of Lavia, depending on the likes of Fofana. Depending on the likes of Reece. Because if you remember the season when we had Poch, me and Dan used to speak about this all the time, right? As much as Poch was doing some fuckery, we all kind of said, like, listen, if we had Lavia fit, Fofana fit and that, we think that his style of play would have been implemented a lot better, right? So what they did in the summer, they started to build from the ground up. The likes of Tosin, the ground up. The likes of Dewsbury Hall, the ground up. Because they were looking at Lavia, Fofana, and Reece as new signings because they will fit again. That's the problem, right? And that's where we've gone wrong because these guys are not guys to depend on. Going forward. You know what I mean?
I think that's inexperience in the sporting directors and the ownership thinking that you can plan a squad around players that aren't reliable. And then they've learnt their lesson, hopefully, this season.
Hopefully. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
hope
glad
they
you said that.
hope they have.
I'm glad you said that. Hopefully. Because you know what? I got to be honest. I got no faith in those the Chuckle brothers that's up there as our sporting directors. No faith. No
but
faith.
Also, it's the fact that we spent on them two players specifically. It's the amount of money that's been spent on them where it's like, well, what do we do here? Because they're stuck in between a hard rock. It's like, they want them to just, one season and you're injured and you're not around, all right, fine. And then they're in training and whatever, and they're thinking, all right, this is it now. We're going to get our money's worth. And then bang. The second time it happens, nah.
Do you ever look at players, like the players that have left, like Pulisic, Loftus-Cheek? Do you ever look at those players' injury records off the back of leaving Chelsea have just been
perfect,
unbelievable?
Here and there.
Even Kante,
as well,
small little niggas. And I was about to say, I'll give them a pass a little bit on a Fofana thing because of the other two Chuckle brothers. That I'm quite sure they didn't expect them to be as bad.
No, God.
DCC and Batty Shield. So center back, I can understand why they didn't.
70 million.
Why they did Fofana get hurt.
That's a very good point.
Okay.
They're solely on Stewart as well because of the Monaco link. They're solely on Stewart.
The Lavia one, that was careless. We should have kept Ugochukwu or we should have kept Santos. Either way, it was no way we should have sent both of them off.
100%, bro.
Yeah, because we had to sign a Mugu or whatever his name is to cover for loaning those two players out.
For
too many people.
Think about that.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Because Santos come back and the Mugu is going right to San.
And also in that time, we decided that Cassidy would be the one that we'd recall halfway through his loan at Leicester and keep him for this season. And now we've sold him. The squad plan is literally horrendous. Like it's really poor.
And we don't even talk about their biggest blunder. We don't even really talk about it. Signing João Felix for 40-something million and then putting him out for transfer by January is fucking criminal.
Don't even get me started on that guy. One person
the January side.
We still didn't.
That is one guy. Yeah, I don't even listen. I told you, man. I told all of you, man, when we first signed him, not you, but especially Don. And who else is around? And
me? What do you mean me?
I told all you guys about this guy. I said
right now, blood. What do you mean?
Jim, I'm gonna be honest. I would have been backing up Felix in the moment because I would have swore a striker was coming in. But I would have swore a striker was coming in. So I wouldn't have been. That's why when we signed João Felix, I was like, okay, because I just knew we were gonna get a striker. When we didn't get a striker, that's when the João Felix signing was like.
That's what we were saying. That was the thing. We was like, you cool with it if we still get a striker?
If we still had a striker,
that guy has the worst
directors identified Nkunku as the striker. So it's another mistake where they've misread or misprofiled a player. I think all of us could have sat here and gone, Nkunku, you can't rely on him to be your number 9. We need to buy someone. And they've gone, no, we'll chance it. Like,
that's what I mean. These guys are honestly, Dan, you're spot on, bro. These sporting directors are some gamblers, bro. Right? These men must go to fucking casinos in Westfield, gambling every single fucking time they get paid. Because I've never seen people that take so many risks with different things, right?
Do you know what it is, Don? I think they've spent so much money that they don't want to pick up the phone or have another meeting to ask for another amount of money because as soon as they keep doing it and they keep getting things wrong, imagine in your own job, the boss would go, what did you do with the other 100 million we gave you?
Yeah, that's when they know they'll get fired.
We've definitely had about 100 million to spend on a striker.
That reflects on the sporting directors.
We've definitely had 100 million to sign a striker.
But that's why I say, even if we get top 4 Champions League, win Conference League, I still want these guys fired. I still feel like
Mate, we had 70 mil between Disassi and Blimmin' Badia Chile for good seconds. 70 mil we spent on
Bro,
it.
We're not whole season without buying a striker. It's sackable in itself. Like, it's
Can you
ridiculous.
imagine,
It's
if
crazy.
all of us had been given separately, by the way, all just been given 1.6 billion to improve Chelsea's squad a year off of winning
Oh, we would
Champions
have done
League?
it.
None, I promise you now, none of us would have done as bad a job as what these guys have done.
Hell no.
And
This is
I would have backed all of us to at least turn profit on a lot of the players as well.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen,
The only
That's
thing I
what's
can
so
honestly say
mad.
that I don't think none of us would have did was get Cole Palmer. Everything else, I think we could have did
true.
better.
That's
I think I was taking a little punch.
That's
I
it.
can't lie.
Other than that, I think we
I was
would have
showing
did
these
better
guys.
than all of them in every other fucking position except
When we
Cole
signed Cole
Palmer.
Palmer, Jim.
I wouldn't have went for Cole Palmer. I
When
wouldn't.
we
To be fair,
signed-
Dom was quite big about him. I give
That
him
was
yeah,
good,
he
bro.
was, yeah.
When we signed Cole Palmer, I told these lot, this guy's gonna cook. He's a baller, bro. I was getting called delusional, right? And this is why people like dip that just jar me, bro. Yeah, I know you're probably bantering, but
But you already know how that go. They're gonna point out the ones where you wrong. They're not gonna point out when you right.
It's like this is the directors Don would die for. Listen, me, I'm a fair guy, innit? When I'm watching the game, I like to be fair, even if I don't like a player like Gallagher, for example. I used to say all the time, bro, like I think he's done enough to get a new contract. But if it's up to me, I'm not playing this guy every single game. I'll just bring him off the bench to shut off fires and whatnot. You know what I mean?
But you know how Simeone uses him? Brings him on 60 minutes, and he's
60
like,
minutes.
Connor,
That's
go
the
and press
perfect
him
way
high.
to
I
Go
was just
make
about to
those
say that.
tackles.
He's the 60-minute. He's a 60-minute
Yeah,
band.
that's what he is.
Come on, 60 minutes and shut shit down.
And he can start in the league the game after you play a massive Champions League game or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
he's
that's
great
the
for that
perfect way
type of
to use
option.
him.
I saw the best
agree.
and worst of Conor Gallagher the other day in the Champions League. He came on, he made a great tackle, and then they got a breakaway. The ball went across. I said, "Is that Gallagher?" That shit hit his foot and went wide. I said, "Yeah, that's Gallagher. That's Gallagher."
If you gave us all in here as the guys, the pundits, if you all gave us a position to pick and we had to pick one player, and let's say they gave us a billion, let's not even a billion, let's say 600 million to spend, I guarantee each one of us would pick a top player in that position to come in. Guarantee it.
That's
So
what
we're
that's
not
my point. That's the point that I made it.
Because you know what we're not gonna do? We're not gonna fuck around with the wage budget. That's number one. I'm gonna bust the wage budget for my striker and for my goalkeeper. I don't give a fuck about no wage.
Do you know what they could have done, right? They could have given each of us 260 million, and we could have just spent that each and seen what we ended up with as a group, and it would still be better.
That's
We
what
could
I'm
have
saying.
had like
We could've
6
got it
new
cheaper,
strikers, 6
Yeah, we would've.
goalkeepers, and a few in between, and we would have had better than what they've done
But
with
the-
two of
the
them.
The thing is, though, ads, got age actually. What do you think we're gonna go and do in the summer? Because listen, like Dan's saying, if we had that money, I made that point last week as well. If we all had that money, I even said the chat as well. Every single person's gonna build a better team, bro. Right? We're definitely building a better team than what these guys have done. Right? But we've seen them. Let's be fair now. We've seen them try and get Olise. The first year we tried to get Olise, he actually gave us the green light to come for like 38 million or something.
Yeah.
And then obviously Crystal Palace tried to snitch. They tried to snitch us.
That's why I still hate Crystal Palace.
Yeah, that move for Hall was about to go on loan. You know what I mean? Because Poch didn't want this guy. That broke down because of the whole thing. We ended up selling Hall. You know, we tried to get Osimhen. Obviously, we couldn't come to an agreement with the wages and whatnot. We've got Caicedo, we've got Lavia, we've got Enzo Fernandez. These sort of guys, right? What do you think they're gonna try doing in the summer? Because they have shown that they're trying to get some of these big signings over the line, but they've struggled. So, what do you think they're gonna try to do in the summer, bro?
Firstly, it's important for us to finish in the Champions League. Like, we have to finish in the Champions
Top
League.
5.
Like that, right? Especially after like 3 seasons of this, we can't do it anymore. So that's important for us to get it over the line. I think that's the magic to get them transfers over the line. But when I look at the squad, bro, I only feel like we have like maybe 6 players that we could like build around, like seriously. You understand? I think we need to bring in some. I think we need to go to another phase of the project. Like, we've got the youngsters in, we have like 40 youngsters or whatever on the team. Everybody
We just signed Denard or whatever, another one.
Bro, I can't keep up, bro. I don't even follow it. I'm not even gonna lie.
I see the shit and I just keep scrolling, bro. I don't care.
I don't follow it.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though. People need to understand. This is the thing people need to understand. This again, let's be fair again, right? I know right now we're in the Chiz and we haven't been playing Champions League football and that, and obviously we've signed a lot of young players. But bro, Roman used to sign young players all the time. but we never used to see it being reported by Fabrizio. That's the
I
difference.
remember we signed like
Yeah.
Kennedy, Nathan, Piarzon, like
I agree.
young
That's-
Brazilian kids.
Yo,
But
Chelsea
they never
PR, they
made it.
have to stop announcing it. What are we nonsense?
Yeah, I hate that.
Like,
Yeah.
yo, what are we
That was the
doing? We got to stop announcing these kids that ain't gonna
Bro,
be
we
here
even
for
signed
4
like
years.
Nathan Aki and that into the academy, Andreas Christensen, and nothing was said about it. And then they come through, and everyone was like, "Oh, they're Cobham," but they like even Matson, I think, come in at 16 years old, but this stuff wasn't reported.
But you know what that kind of
Exactly,
comes down
exactly
to
that.
also.
But they also didn't cost 10 mil each.
Yeah, but it's a machine though. It's the machine. That can never be stopped. Because as much as we complain about it, I see it on other teams' algorithms too. Like they do be signing kids too. Like
No, yeah,
that they don't-
with
but the
Sevilla
only
and
difference with these
Sevilla,
other
didn't they?
clubs is they'll spend money on the big guys. They'll break their wage
And
structure.
that's-
So you're not gonna hear a Man United fan
Yeah.
vexed that they signed a young kid, because if they want to go get a top player, they're gonna spend how much they need to spend to get him. Opposed to us, when we could have
that
had
was my
Michael
point.
Elise, but we didn't want to break the wage structure. We could have had.
Hold on. You say United will go spend that money? They're broke, Jim.
But
They would have.
No, they're broke now, but I'm saying they will.
Because they
Their
spent
club
70 mil on
structure, the way
Mason
they're
Mount.
structured,
That's
they will
why.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
breaking the top player.
I just
Although, if I can to answer the question that you brought up, like this is why
Yeah.
for me it's hard to predict what we're gonna do, because we've seen this ownership, these sporting directors use an unprecedented model. Like they're signing all these young players and copying the Brighton model, people are saying, but in Brighton's model, they still had space for the Welbeck signings, the Milner signings, the experienced guys.
Older
For us,
guys.
we didn't actually do that. We skipped that part. We just go for all these kids, inexperienced guys, and we're hoping that they all grow together. Like this is Master League, bro. Like what are we doing?
Let's go back a little bit.
Looking
Let's go back a little bit
for phase 2 of the project.
That's what I'm saying. Let's go back a little bit and be fair, right? Because last summer we did bring in experience, right? We brought in Sancho.
I'm not counting
Hold on.
I
Let me
think
finish what I'm saying.
Tosin
Let me
is the
finish what
one
I'm
for
saying.
me last year.
Let me finish what I'm saying, bro. Yeah? We brought in experience last summer, right? We brought in Sancho. Sancho's an experienced player, bro. Right?
Yes.
We brought in Tosin. Tosin is an experienced player.
Sorry, okay, can I stop you on those two? Remember, Sancho was a last-minute deal because we saw opportunity with his loan, so that wasn't part of the original strategy. And Tosin, a free loan from Fulham.
But ads. You're
doing it?
hold on. You're moving the goalposts. You said you
Yeah.
didn't bring in experience. I'm telling you that we did. Right?
Their opportunity. I
Yeah,
think
but that
both of
wasn't
you are
the
right.
opportunity buys. I'm talking about the strategy. We're talking about copying
both
Brighton's
right, though.
strategy.
I gotta agree
Brighton
with Ed.
planned to go and
I
get
gotta agree.
experienced guys.
That was
We didn't plan to get experienced guys.
Yeah.
One at a time. Hold on. One at a
I
time.
think you're both
Go on,
right.
let-
I think Ads is spot on that they're opportunistic signings because
I
Tosin could
agree
be
with that.
flipped
I agree
for
with that.
instant profit. And I think Sancho at 25, 28 million, whatever it is a bargain for the type of player that he could potentially be. But at the same time, Don is right because they are both more experienced than like Vega coming in. So I think actually you're both right. But I hear what Ads is saying that Sancho was more of like an opportunistic last minute thing rather than planning to add experience into this team.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
They
I hear
must
that
have-
100%. And that's
They must have
why
knew that
I thought-
Mudryk was going to have a drug issue in it, so that's probably why.
No,
Well,
that's you can't plan for that, can you? That's
Okay. This is what I'm saying. You can't plan for
unless
bro,
they planted it.
what's
No.
the odds? Yeah, I know people hate these sporting directors and whatnot. Yeah, but what's the odds of both of our strikers getting injured the day of the transfer deadline?
It's your fault because you keep going, Mark Gee will start, and then he gets
Nothing.
We had a great
You know what,
fucking
yeah? You know what?
cameo. We ready. I was ready for him to play that next game, bro.
Especially the way Don was ready for it as well. He
Football
made us ready.
In that sense, football's predictable. That I think you can write that. Like, you know, Arsenal didn't do anything. I think we could all sit like, whoa, you're playing with fire there.
Yeah, with fire.
Happen.
I literally said this as well. Exactly.
We were all crying out for a striker in the summer. We all wanted Osimhen over the line because we knew we would play with fire this season if all we went into it was with Jackson. The same again in January. We all got so annoyed at the fact they didn't sign another striker because we knew we were playing with fire again because Jackson out of form and an 18-year-old kid is not enough no matter how you dress it up.
No, 100%.
And again, this is an 18-year-old kid that we saw the manager didn't trust for the first 6 months. So why is there a sporting directors who tried to get Osimhen didn't get it over the line? How do you go through all of January seeing that you only have Jackson that the manager trusts and you don't get anybody else? You don't even, they didn't target anybody else. All you did was target Garnacho. Like, what are we doing there?
Don't even bring that up.
Wait, do you believe the Garnacho thing? Because I read so much about it, but obviously it never happened. Do you think that was just PR?
I told these guys it wasn't going to happen. I told them it wasn't going to happen, and they know why it wasn't going to happen. If if anyhow we hold it up a scarf, it wasn't going to happen. That's all I'm going to say in it. But for me, I feel like I think a big part of it was just you know like these big clubs, they like to like scratch each other's back in terms of raising up a value. Because I think United wanted to sell him to Napoli, but Napoli just thought the price was too much. So we put our hat in there, but I don't think we were that serious about actually getting him over the line. At least I hope we weren't, because these sporting directors, I don't really put too much past them because they're madmen. They are madmen.
They are madmen. Because I don't know, like you said, I don't know. Like I said, Jackson saved them in a sense where that patch he went on in the first half of the season, and he went through. We made it to the halfway point. There's no way they should have got to January and thought, yeah, we're gonna. I'll have more of that. You should have known. Okay, Jackson's off now. We already see what type of striker he is. He's gonna have his patches when he score goals. Then he's gonna be off. It's January. Let me at least get somebody on loan. Ferguson was there. Mwani was there. It didn't matter who it was. You had to get somebody, just another body. I kept saying it through the whole January. Every stream I went on, we have to get another body.
Yeah, and listen, talk of the devil.
We don't have to talk about this guy before he gets
Licona, talk of the devil, my G. Yeah,
yo,
that's crazy, you know. Because I was like, yo, this guy just crossed my mind. Estevao people. Yeah, every time me and Rance do a show, every single week, there's a thing of me and Rance's channel right now. Every single show that we do, I always find a way to talk about this guy because our right wingers at the minute have not been consistent.
Nowhere near what they do
right now. That since Neymar left the Brazilian league, yeah, he's got the most goals and assists. Before turning 18, he's got 22. Neymar got 16. Right? Look at Rodrigo. Rodrigo got 11. Endrick got.
When I tell people about him dying, I say, yo. I said, don't even worry about the stats. Just let your eyes. I said, go watch the comps. And I said, don't even look at the result of the shots or the passes. Just watch when he gets the ball. You feel it. You see the magic. You know what you're looking at. If you love football, if you come from that era of where I come from, you watch, you know it. As soon as the ball get on his foot, his first movement, you go, okay, yeah, this is something. This is different. Yeah. This is different. This is different. You see it. You see it. The way he moved, everything about his game, you see it. Like, I can't wait till this kid get here. And it's not that I think he's going to come here and save us and all that. No. It's just that I like when you have a young player like this that you can look forward to.
It's the way,
Jimmy, do you think he's ready next season, Jimmy?
He's on notice. Everybody's on notice once he gets
I don't think we would.
Jimmy, do you think he's ready for next season to be like a starter or like a 50% of games he's going to play? What do you think for next season? Or would you loan him back out?
50% of the games, about 50% of the games, 60% of the games he should get. Like how Arsenal was doing the Wanyeri kid before the injuries.
I think if he hits
I don't want to see him out there every week.
He was barely playing.
Then it is what it is. But other than that, I don't need to see him every game. I don't.
Let me read a few things here as well. Yeah. So Estevao, in comparison to other 21 wingers like all over in Europe as well, he's scored the most goals. He's got the most goals and assists, most MPG and assists, most dribbles, most offensive duels, most progressive carries, most shots on target. You know, this is my type of winger, bro. Right? And him himself, long term, he actually wants to play in the 10. He's very creative and he knows how to.
You know what else? One other thing I wanted to tell people, because people worried about, well, what about his side? If y'all don't watch their games, which because I'm a football crackhead, every now and then I'll catch one. They play him aggressive. They don't take it easy on him. They foul him. They pull him. Everything you could think of, he gets that. So I know the people in the Prem is going to be strong or fat, but he ain't coming here with no schoolboy treatment or getting treated better. Don't think, he's young, he's Brazil. They're letting him shine. No, they're not. They out there trying to kill the fuck out of him. Yes, they be out there killing him.
That's some good insight.
He don't cry. He don't complain. He fucking plays.
By the way, if you go through Brazilian teams and look at the players that are in some of those squads, there's some top Premier League players playing out there.
La Liga players too.
Actually, more like top Brazilian international players. They're out there playing. Like, he would have been tested. And people say, "Oh, the Brazilian league's this, Brazilian league's that." Look on that list, yeah. How many of those players have come to Europe and had instant impact?
Almost
Jimmy,
literally
you're right.
all of them.
Yeah.
That's why when I tell people when lists like that come out, look at the names. Like when you look at a list and then you see somebody, he has more under 20 goals in Ketia and Nicholas Bender, and then you be like, "Oh, that list don't mean shit. That's a bunch of bosses." But when you see a list and all the names are top dudes, then you know what it is.
Literally,
the thing is that there's one player that we had as well.
That's questionable.
There's a player.
Barbosa.
Oh, go on, Dan.
Barbosa and Renier are probably the only two you would question it. But other than that, I'd say all of them have had pretty much an instant impact when they've got to Europe. I also think of players like Oscar. Oscar come in at like 19, 20, hit the ground running when he got playing. Like these players are good to go coming from Brazil. That's why they cost so much to get.
100%, bro. And one thing about Estevao as well, he's actually said himself, right? He doesn't care about competition. Like he backs himself to do well. And if he's been watching Madueke and Neto this season on the right, I'm sorry, bro. It's not going to take much for him to find himself in that 11 because all he's got to do really is show a little bit of intent when he's running with the ball, create some good chances for the striker, score some goals, blood.
Do you think he'll be better than Madueke?
The most big one of all of that for me is
Say that again, Dan?
Do you think he'll be better than Madueke when Madueke come in from PSV? Do you think?
Oh,
yeah. Hell yeah. He's better than that now. He's better. He might be better than.
Yeah.
So you guys are saying no loan for this guy, straight to the first team.
Bro, no loan thing for this guy, bro. Honestly,
hell no. Loan where?
You, bro, AJ,
no.
If we didn't sign this guy,
I haven't watched him. I don't watch him. So
I don't know if you guys know. I don't know if you guys know. Yeah, we was on the verge of signing. We was on the verge of signing Endrick. Yeah, we was on the verge of signing Endrick. Endrick was literally, he came to Cobham. He met Thiago Silva. He met Jorginho. He was like basically house shopping. He was about to sign. And then Madrid came in and they basically put in an offer which Chelsea didn't think was to the market value of the player. So we backed away from it, right? And then we went to Estevao. So I'm telling you, bruv, if we signed Endrick, these men would have signed Estevao, bruv. Yeah? Real Madrid would have signed this guy and he would have gone over there, right? And I'm not saying that he's completely ready for the Prem and that because end of the day, physically, you can see he can get bigger. He's only 18, right? So he's going to get taller. He's going to get, you know, the more he eats, the steak and that and Novikov and all of these things, bro. The guy's going to get one. You know what I mean? He's going to get bigger and he's going to learn, right? When he's playing with the team and, you know, the country and whatnot. You've got to take all these things into consideration. That's why I'm hoping this second half of the season, the likes of Neto, Madueke, when he comes back, they can start to step up. So we're not bringing him into an environment where now he's the savior. Yeah, because a lot of people, I've got a target on my back. I've got a target on my back right now. You know, people will be cooking. Say, yo, if this guy don't cook, we're coming for you. Because I've been. You know what else?
I'm gonna tell you what else. What he has, and what a lot of the young Brazilian wonder kids like him have. They have the backing of all the Brazilian legends. They always back their young kids. If y'all ever watch the legends talk about him, they talk about him like how they talked about Neymar. So I know, like Thiago Silva, all the Brazilians. He's gonna be good at Chelsea. Think about all the Brazilians that came through our squad. He should be good at Chelsea. I've
got no doubts. I've got no doubts.
Brazilians love London, don't they?
They love London. Think about the Brazilians that came through London, bro. He's gonna be good.
The big thing with
before you come in as well, big up the Brazilian scout we've got out there because this guy he's found us Estevao, he's found us Andre Santos, he found us Angelo Gabriel, who's on this list as well. I would have kept him if it was up to me. We ended up saying
a nice piece of change for Gabriel, didn't we?
Right? Say that again, bro.
Didn't we get a nice little piece of change for Gabriel?
No, we did, but I would have kept him, bro. When I saw him in that preseason with Poch, I said, yo, this guy's good, bro. We need to keep him.
Nice.
Yeah, he was good. And then we signed Washington as well. He's another good young player. Obviously, we haven't seen him much, but he didn't get many opportunities. But yeah, big up the Brazilian scout we've got, man, because we're finding some good talent out there. But go on, Jem.
No, just the only thing I'd finish off saying with this boy for me is just we need more goal contributions from our wingers. And if he's going to come in and he's going to bang in a certain amount of goals on his, you know, even if he gets 20 games a season, let's just say, then that's putting us a lot further forward than where we are now. And then if, you know, it just depends on and around it. If Palmer can continue at the same level, say we get a striker in that's able to put 15, 20 goals in as well, then you're really racking up some goals and all these creative opportunities. I looked at that stat I sent in the group earlier on about how, you know, we've created, I think there's only two teams that have created more than us in front of goal, Liverpool and Brentford, funny enough, which was crazy when Brentford spoke about it. But then we was also, I think we was like 9th in the list of obviously conversions you know, and it's just so bad, you know.
It's
like
so bad,
that's the difference, really and truly, is that we create enough.
You want to stay within the top 5. If you in the top 5 in those two stats,
we're not even in Jimmy. We're not even in the top 9 of conversion. It's in the league.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you creating in the top 2, you want to be in top 5 in the conversion.
Yeah.
You gotta be within the top 5.
If you look here as well, so these are the players with the most chances created.
Yeah, I saw this the other day. I could
Enzo Fernandez.
Having 2 people up there is crazy. Having
2 players in this is absolutely crazy.
That is throw up words.
That's disgusting. Right?
Remember 2 episodes ago, what did I say? I said what's letting us down the most? I said the goalkeeper and the attack is what's letting down Enzo and Caicedo. If the goalkeeper and our attackers was doing their job, the league would be talking more about how well Enzo and Caicedo is as a fucking.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Please, let's talk about that.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, Jim, man. How well is Enzo doing right now, bro? Because against Southampton, I don't give a shit about Southampton. Yeah, you can only.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you because the energy that we had last, let's say certain fans' energies last season to how bad he was and what it is now. I'll be that guy every period, not every game, but every period that will come on here comfortably and go, hey, guess what? Enzo Fernandez is performing, isn't he? This is the player that we want to see. This is the player that I knew we signed in terms of ability. You know, listen, I made a comment to you guys in the group chat. I said, if the players around him converted the amount of assists that Enzo Fernandez gives us in the game, he'd be our top assister. He could easily be highly up there in the Premier League, man, in the league. I'm not even joking. It's ridiculous. The guy had nearly 4 assists in his last game. That if Cole Palmer had his shooting boots on, he would have had it next to his name. You know, at the end of the day, and listen, Couch, big up, you're in here as well, and obviously, I know your thoughts when it comes to him. Couch always brings up about Enzo Fernandez off the ball. He thinks Enzo's very good at what he does on the ball. But there's been so many stats of so many recent games of Enzo Fernandez where he's been winning the most duels than any other player in our team. I think
people underestimating that hernia injury. I think people really underestimating the injury he had last year. You're not gonna be able to get up and down with that type of injury. This year, you can see the difference with him.
100%.
With him winning. I was at that game. The last game Enzo played for us last season was against Arsenal at the Emirates, right? I was at that game, and if you've been to the Emirates, people, their weigh-in is quite low, so you can see that you're literally. It feels like you're on the pitch, right? I was watching Enzo, and if you've played football before, you know when the man's injured. You just know when the guy's injured. And I'm telling you, Enzo Fernandez, the way he was getting barged off the ball, you could see he was struggling to keep his body up because his legs weren't strong because he's injured, bro. Right? And then after that game, he got the surgery. We didn't see him again until the end of the season, right? But Jem's spot on, bro. Against Southampton, he was the first player to create 5+ chances, win 5+ duels, and win possession 5 times in the Prem in multiple games this season. He did it against Bournemouth as well. So people can't say it's just Southampton. Bournemouth have been getting a lot of praise this season. Ariola's been getting a lot of praise. And I've been seeing in a lot of games this season where Enzo's won the ball back the most, right? And what I always tell people as well is Enzo is not a destroyer. He's not a Declan Rice. He's not a Caicedo, right? But he's not a bum off the ball. He's got
that South American grit. That's what he's got. Yeah. That South American grit about him. You know, he gets about and he gets
grit, bro. If you've got players around him, Enzo gets stuck in. Enzo doesn't just let guys run past him for the sake of letting them run past him. If he's there, that's it.
He could do better in moments. Don't get wrong. Defensively, in moments, there's been times where I watch him, I'm like, you should be doing better there, Enzo. You can't be letting people skip past you as easy as that. Yeah. But that's where it goes back to the fact that he's just not at the level of Lavia and Caicedo defensively. Like, he just isn't. But to say that he can't defend is just a myth to me. Because he can get about, he can get stuck in. He wins the ball high up the pitch. Well, he tackles well when he does get involved. You know, and the most important thing for me with him is that this system does help him, but also this system needs Enzo Fernandez. When people say we should just, not have Enzo in the team and maybe have Lavia and Caicedo, yeah, don't get me wrong, I think that would work very nicely. But I still, I stick to this, and I've said this for a long time. All 3 of them have got different abilities, and I promise you now, Lavia and Caicedo are not doing what Enzo does on the ball. They're just not doing it to that level, in my opinion. That's just what he's good at doing. And then when he's further up the pitch in the 10 role, being played, been playing the balls in, being able to look up, move a bit sharper, like we're seeing, play balls quickly over the top, play through balls, with the vision that, he's been showing. That's priceless for me, because you'll always have a player that will create in this team. You just need the executioner, the one at the end of it that's just going to go bang every time, bang, bang, bang. And that's what we need. It goes back to like what Jimmy said, put a striker up front. Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer are your creative players in the team, along with maybe the wingers, where they can. But, we need them two in the team for me. We just need
exactly, bro. And that's the annoying thing about Enzo this season, right? This season with Enzo, it reminds me of when he joined when we finished 12th. Because if you remember that season, most of the time, like I'm speaking to rivals, they're like, yo, that Enzo Fernandez guy's a baller, bro. I see him creating some good chances. But because we kept losing games and drawing games, there wasn't much conversation around him. And it was, how could Enzo have been good? You finished 12th. And I'm like, when I'm watching the games, I'm seeing Enzo doing his job. And same thing as now. When I'm watching these games, I'm seeing Enzo doing his job. You even saw against Villa, Dan. The guy was crying, bro, because he's like, yo, I fucking worked my ass off here, and you lot are just not, you're not doing your job at the back and in front of goal as well. You haven't been good. You know what I mean? So
can I just say though, like I agree with most of what's been said, right? I think Enzo, especially over the last 2-3 months, he's actually performing at a high level, even as the team's been dropping in level. So that's great. Obviously, we have to remember the price tag he came for. And obviously the pressure that's been on him, including what he did in the summer, which is why I was like, you know what, is he worth all the hassle when he's doing all of that kind of stuff, right? So, but granted, he's done well the last few months. And for me, he's been our third best player this season behind Caicedo, and then him and Palmer are like that for me right now.
Nah. He's been better than Palmer. He's been better than Palmer, bro. I'm sorry.
Palmer started the season. I don't know, man. I feel like
Enzo's performances have been better than Palmer.
For the whole season. I don't. But listen. Let me get to the point, though, right? Let me get to the point, though, right? Because as much as Enzo's been great, right, or especially recently, our best performances this season for me have come when it's been Caicedo and Lavia in midfield. Games like Aston Villa and other games. Even remember, there was a time when obviously Enzo was dropped. You can say Palmer probably should have been dropped last couple of games, but there was actually a time in the season when Enzo was dropped because the performances.
He started that game against Villa. Caicedo was inverting from right back.
Yeah, it's Enzo in the middle.
So my bad on that. But there are still games where
don't forget, when they came out,
he played better that game because of that.
When Enzo came out of the team, right, we struggled to create. Right? That's when Enzo came off the bench against Arsenal. He created that chance for Neto. Neto scored, right? Every time Enzo was coming off the bench, you'd see him straight away trying to create things. Because with Lavia and Caicedo, cool, we've got a little bit more stability.
They're not
but
the same.
we use that creativity, bro. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if it was Newcastle. I don't know if Newcastle the game I'm thinking of, because I know we battered Newcastle as well. Maybe it was Caicedo and Lavia that started that game and Enzo was on the bench. But either way, my point is as good as Enzo is, and I agree, we miss his creativity when he's not in the team. We can't forget what Lavia brings to the team. Caicedo for me has clearly been our best player this season, like point blank period. He's been that guy. So as much as Enzo has been doing well, I'm not even saying that, when Lavia comes back, bench him. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that his importance to the team is big, but we can't forget what Lavia is doing when he comes into the team. And obviously Caicedo was still the main guy in there. So for me, Enzo still has a bit more to prove for me, because again, our record in big games isn't great. And a lot of times his performances in big games, some are good, but they're not always great. And we saw Enzo drop him. Maresca that being dropped him when we played bigger games earlier in the season.
The problem with
he got to be there more for us to stamp that, because the 1-2 seasons, 1-2 games, it might look good, but he comes off half the game, first of all, and secondly, we just don't see him like that. I'm not.
That was my biggest thing.
We can't just keep stamping that going forward. And on top of that, let me just finish, John, real quick. And we've started many games. That's the problem with us is we can't sustain a 0-0 or a being up 1 goal, because we've started many games and had the lead in many games playing well, and we've ended up fumbling the game. And we can't now penalize Enzo for that, because he's been there over the season. You understand? Lavia, he's not giving us enough for us to he's not worth the comparison, because he hasn't qualified for that. So I'm not stamping that, but I hear that Lavia does bring a different balance to the team. There's no doubt about that. But Enzo, creatively, there's no competition.
No, I just think Lavia gives us something completely different in the system. And when you've got him in the team, yes, it allows Enzo to not maybe worry as much having to get back and cover in many ways, and also allows him to focus a bit more further forward. And we saw it against the Villa game at home. But I agree, when he's when the problem with Lavia is like the Tottenham game, he plays half a game, he comes off. Like, you know, like you can't rely. Availability is the most important thing in football. If you're not available, it doesn't matter how good you are. It's just irrelevant to me. So, you know, I need to see more from Lavia being available. I have no issues, by the way, of changing them if we have to. Because just to be serious, I don't think we need to have all three playing every single game. If Enzo was benched one week because Lavia's actually keeping fit and he plays it to Caicedo because we're playing against a team that's, I don't know, probably better with the ball moving forward, like a Liverpool, for example, or something. That makes sense. I get it. We're trying to be, you know, shrewd in the middle when you bring Enzo on later. But for me, it's about Maresca picking and choosing the right time to mix it, you know, and whether he needs all three or whether he needs to just have two of them and get the best out of it, you know, when we're playing against the opposition, because they're good enough, all three.
Do you know what I've noticed this season so much is that Poch killed our midfielders, man. Like he was asking way too much of all of them, and really the only one that coped was probably Conor Gallagher because he was just a dog and he ran and he would buy into that. But there were so many times we saw Caicedo in that island on his own. We saw Lavia not being able to maintain fitness at all, and I think he's still suffering. And he played Enzo injured for such a long period of time that would be a negative impact on any player. And I'll hold my hands up. I said at so many points last season, Enzo wasn't good enough. But when you see him now, it's so obvious to see that it was him being at a poor level because he was carrying an injury. Yeah. He wasn't fit. You know yourself, when you get injured and you try some actions, you restrict your mind. I almost felt like so many times last season, exactly right. You'd see him like go to switch the play and he'd be like 20 yards short, 10 yards short on the pass. But it's probably because every time he's kicking the ball, he's wincing or like he
can't extend.
Exactly right. And I think that's such a big thing. The one thing I'll say is this is injury excluded. I think there's been some games where he still hasn't been at the level I'd expect for the price tag he cost. And I think like the level I've seen this season is the bare minimum I expect to see from him over the next like 5 years. I expect him to go to the next level again and again. Give me 2 or 3 seasons of this as a bare minimum, and then I think I can start to say.
Yeah, but Dan, he won't. If we don't improve this squad, he won't stay. I'm telling you, because players like Enzo Fernandez want to win things. I'm telling you now.
Oh, by the way, that is massive. By the way, Don said it as well. Is there's a definite desire in Enzo Fernandez to win games of football at Chelsea, and that's a commodity that isn't common in this squad right now. There are only probably a handful of players that have that much desire to win the game playing for Chelsea right now.
He's one of the few winners in the squad. There's very few winners in the squad. He's one of the few guys who've actually come and say, "I've won something. I'm a world champion."
I've won it.
When you only sign youngsters, you're signing guys who are fresh off academy football, fresh off of being like a kind of a starlet player in a team. You're looking promising. You're looking exciting. But he was doing good at Benfica, and then he won a World Cup. The rest of his team, most of them don't really have that kind of experience. So again, we need that, but we need more of that. We need to add to that if we're going to go to the next level. Yeah, and don't forget, he was very influential in that final as well, bruv. Very, very influential in that final. And he obviously got young player of the tournament. Because I remember I was watching this guy, I was like, yo, who's this Enzo Fernandez guy? This guy's a baller. Yeah, he won it. And the running power, because he showed that he could run about. And that's what was throwing me off last season. Last season, he looked so unathletic. Like he was gassed after like 30, 40 minutes. He couldn't track a man. But this season, offensively, I'm seeing him underlap people, like sprinting at full power, underlapping people, giving these third man runs. I'm like, he was not doing that last season.
He's on the move.
Against the Gemma's point is right. It's clearly
yo, Dan, I was saying that same shit, bro. Because he's a trainer, right? You know,
to be fair, like I saw him. I can't think what game it was. One of the last games I went to. I was looking at him, and I was thinking, you know what? He looks like he's in mad condition compared to what he did.
Not get drug tested for goodness sake. I can't be doing
it. Last season, Jimmy. I swear to God, Jimmy. Me and Dan was at the Brentford game together. That's the first time I met Dan.
When I think back to that is horrendous from Poch, man.
Bro, Enzo Fernandez was playing on the left. I saw this guy running left wing, right wing. I swear to God,
first half he played centre mid. Do you remember, Don? He like ran the game first half. First half he was like running the show, looked really good, and then second half we were like, we need to change it up. I wonder what's going to happen. And then Enzo appeared left wing, and we both looked at each other like, what is he on?
What's going on? Honestly, bro, what's going on? He whooped people's mind, and he was never going to whoop my mind.
Because let's not forget the most criminal thing he ever did. He played Chilwell at left wing, bro.
Yeah, that note, I'm going. Yeah,
Oh
see you
my
later.
gosh.
Yeah.
On that note,
With Colwell.
See you later, guys. Take care of yourself.
With Colwell at left back.
Ben Chilwell at left, attacking left wing, bro. With Mudryk on the bench, all those dudes. That's who he played. Ben Chilwell.
bro, that's the thing, right, Jimmy, right? Is that whenever we can look back at Poch's season and find things that he did eventually and praise it. But when people start going, the Poch revisionism and that, no, we can all give you a list of like 30 things that he did wrong.
That he did that made you go.
Because it was every game, it was something new. So it was like
How about
30
the
attempts to get the right system.
left back?
Yeah. And every halftime team
Jimmy, you're forgetting.
was
You're forgetting. He
disastrous.
played Colwell. He played Colwell at left back against United and Cucurella right back in the same game.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, but do you know that was the game, wasn't it? That Cucurella like lit back up his season, didn't he, by playing right back?
Yeah, bro. He played Disasi and Silva at the back with Cucurella right back.
Pochettino was so bad, man.
No, he missed profile. He looked at all of our defenders, yeah, and he picked up the most unathletic one and went right back.
Right back.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. If Cole Palmer was playing like he is now for Poch, we would have got relegated.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but actually, that's the one thing I would give Poch the benefit of the doubt on that, is that I think he actually understood how to get the best out of Cole Palmer, because I don't think Maresca has.
Nah, I don't blame. No. If Palmer would have been putting away these easy misses, he would look just like he looked last year.
Facts.
You reckon?
Facts.
He would look. Yes.
I don't know if the system
every
gets the best out of him.
you can almost count on one hand how many easy goals Palmer missed last year. This year,
do you remember Middlesbrough?
Yeah, he only had a handful. This year, he got like 10, 15 where you just like, oh my gosh, Palmer didn't score that. Oh my gosh, he didn't score that. Oh my gosh, he didn't score that. He don't have 10 or 15, but he got like 7 or 8.
In this system, he got to do more though. That's the thing. In this system, he has to do more to get into those.
Yeah, spots. But that don't make no excuse. You got to put the goal. The goals he's not scoring are
not about excuse. It's just the question is, does it? Which one was easier for him to perform? And it's not really.
I definitely think it was the Poch
bro. I'm not blaming no manager for that.
I'm not blaming it. I'm just saying.
I think the majority is on the player, but I think there are the manager can have an impact. And I think there were times last season where I think it actually suited Palmer playing on the right in bigger games, because you can come into again, for me, it's harder to receive the ball in traffic. It's better to receive the ball and then face traffic and actually try and do something in it. And that's why for me this season, the reliance on playing him in a number 10 and not trying anything else there has been bad. And that's why you look at the Villa game, he started more on the right. And for me, he had a bad game against Villa, but look at the positions he was picking up. He was getting into so many more dangerous positions. And I feel like if we use that more often this season, he would have been better.
He got free roam.
Yeah,
I've never seen a game where it's like, okay, Palmer clearly has been told to stay there, because he's everywhere.
Yeah, Jimmy, I think that's the issue.
He comes to the back line and get it. He's on the left wing. He's on the right wing. He's in the middle. So that's why it's on him. I think it's
mostly on him.
Yeah.
But I think the free roam is the issue that's actually making it more difficult. I think he had license to roam from the right-hand side last year under Pochettino, but whenever he roamed, he would never find himself too far over to the left-hand side. I feel like as soon as he crosses that, if you imagine there was a line straight through the middle of the pitch at the centre circle, all the way up to both penalty spots, right? As soon as he crosses onto the left-hand side, I feel like his game is way more restricted. When he's off the right, I feel like coming in off that left foot in that sort of Mares role, I just think last season that suited his style so much more. There's a period in time this season where Enzo Fernandez was bombing on the left and he was making those box crashing runs, and then Cole Palmer would be just off to the right as a 10, and then you'd have like Madueke or an overlapping fullback would obviously progress around. Maybe towards the end of last season as well, we sort of overlapping fullback and Palmer just tucking in a little bit more under Poch. But I feel like that's what worked better, because Enzo Fernandez started putting up numbers when we were playing like that earlier on this season.
Yeah. I mean, if you see Palmer, this is Palmer last season, right? So when he played as an attacking midfielder for us, it's in the 10, he played 21 games there. He scored 13 times and he got 7 assists. When he played on the right for us last season, he scored 13 times again and got 5 assists. So he got less assists there. But in terms of the GA, it's pretty much identical. It's pretty much.
This is my thing, though. I actually think in the number 10, it's a better position for him to get GA, because you're naturally in the thick of the action. You can get on the end of moves in the 10. I think right wing for him, especially against better teams that are going to press us a bit more. There's more space out wide rather than it's going to be in the middle at times. I thought that actually suits him in terms of having more of an impact on the 90 minutes.
You need if he plays off the right, he needs an overlapping fullback.
Yeah,
because if not, the Gusto inversion kills the area that Palmer thrives in.
I hate that.
No, 100%, bro, 100%, man.
And that's where it's on the manager, because the manager doesn't want to play with overlapping fullbacks. That's where it is on the manager.
Yeah, I think against Villa, you saw Gusto looked a little bit. You know, in the first half, he looked a bit better where he was overlapping and helping Palmer. It reminded me of last season.
Like we look way more balanced. Way more balanced. That.
There's so many times last season where you saw Palmer just slip it through to Gusto. Gusto whips it back in, we score. That's why he left the season with like 8 assists. But this year, he's got no assists.
But listen, imagine if it's a fully fit Reece James overlapping, you got Palmer cutting in. Like, that's a whole different level we're seeing, but and again, Don, I know you're skeptical with Reece James, but he played 90 minutes against Villa in midfield. He played 90 minutes, so if he can do that in midfield, surely he can give me 60, 70 minutes at right back. Surely. And then we're cooking, bro.
Even if he plays there, he's not going to overlap him. But I hope he does. bro, because he's another attacking option that we've got. Like, I can even think this season where Gusto's been in good positions to shoot, and I'm like, yo, if Reece is there, that's going in.
Many times.
Gusto's never going to score, man, is he? He just hasn't got it up.
No,
you know, like you have that instinct. I just don't think he has that. Just don't think he has that.
He has not a shooter.
Remember the Reece James that was getting a brace at St. James's Park, bro? Like, come on. Like, that Reece James in the final third, he's killer, bro.
Even Reece in the last season against Nottingham Forest away was unreal. He come on and changed the game, didn't he? I know it was only like 10, 15-minute cameo, but he changed the game. Maybe it's like he gets a cameo. He gets a cameo at right back as like overlapping, allowed to bomb on. But then in other games, he obviously has to restrict himself if we need him for longer. But do you see what I mean? Like maybe he plays centre back or centre mid in games where we can't take the chance. But then in games where we need to bring on someone off the bench and we need to change it up, he might be able to go there for like a cameo. I don't know. I feel like with Reece, it's just management because no one can trust him anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm surprised.
Hamstrings are dumb, man.
I got to run real quick. My dog's scratching on the door.
We're about to finish off anyway, Jim. We're about to finish off anyway. Big up, bro, man. But listen, people, we've got 113 people in the house. Big up Jimmy every single time. Big up Dan as well for hopping on as well every single time, man. Make sure that you lot are subscribing to Dan's channel. Make sure you're following Ads on Twitter. He's not on YouTube as of yet. That's something that you need to look into, my brother. You know what I mean? The people love your thoughts. So make sure that you, we'll speak about that. Don't worry, we'll speak about that, man. Making your little YouTube, man. And AJ as well, make sure that you're following his TikTok. Make sure that you're following his Twitter as well. AJ, you met up with Jem, innit, last week, New York?
Yeah, Jem popped out. We linked up. We actually watched the Villa game. You know, that was I wanted to talk about it with Jem, but that game Enzo cooked too. You know, and he should have had like 2-3 assists that game. Palmer missed a sitter on that game from Enzo. But yeah, we had a good time. And then we linked up again. We went out to we went to a spot. He brought his girl, I brought my girl. So it was a nice time.
Yeah, it was good, man. I actually met up with Jem the other day because he brought me back some toothpaste from Target, blood.
Okay.
He brought me back some toothpaste, man.
What's so special about the toothpaste? Come on, you gotta say.
Oh, apparently it's some whitener in it. It's a tooth whitener.
Oh yeah. I don't have that out there. Okay.
Yeah, my girl wanted it in it, so I was like, you know what? Yeah, you might as well bring some, man. But bless up, people, man. Listen, we're gonna be back tomorrow. Obviously for the match review after the game. Friday I'll most likely be doing something as well. Obviously, we've got Leicester weekend on a Sunday. So we need to make sure that we win, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, a lot more content to come, people. Make sure that you're on the lookout, man. In a bit. Bless.